Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to discuss very simple topics. Only 3 topics are there. That's very simple also. Forces are due to an interaction. Exploring forces. We are discussing more about forces. Force can change the state of a body. These things we are discussing. So let's come to the first topic. Forces are due to an interaction. What is interaction? For an interaction, there must be 2 persons, isn't it? If I am interacting with you, I can't interact alone because it must have 2 persons. As like that, forces are due to interaction only. There must be 2 things for that. If the chalk is lying in my hand like this, it will be continue to lie in my hand itself. If I have to apply or if I have to change the direction or the position of this chalk, I have to apply a force on this chalk. That is, the second one should act on it. There must be an interaction. If a boy is simply pulling air, there is any impact of this force? No. If there is something, some board or something to take or push away, there must be 2 things for an force to have an impact on it. So, for a force to have an impact on it, there must be 2 things. That is, forces are due to interactions only. That is the topic. Now, you may see that in your textbook, first picture, a person is standing behind the car. Is there any changes in the car? No. In the second case, he is pushing the car. In that case, you can see the movement in the car, isn't it? So there is an impact or effect of force when only 2 things come in contact with each other. So this is a must condition that a force to act upon something, it needs 2 things to be interacted. So that is, we are coming to an conclusion that forces are due to interactions only. Now coming to the second topic, exploring forces. That's why I told it's very easy. Just simple logic. We need 2 things for an interaction, isn't it? And forces are also like that. They are only possible with the help of or with the second thing. For a single thing, it's not any force acting on it. If you are acting a force on something, there will be 2 things, either a human being or an object, or 2 objects, or 2 human beings, or like that any 2 things will be there for a force to act upon. Now we can discuss more about forces. See, have you seen tug of war, Vadamvali? What happens in the tug of war for the first few minutes? I'm very good at drawing, that's why see here, there is a tug of war happening. So the central string, it will be staying there for the first few seconds, isn't it? Because in both portions of the tug, what happens, they will be giving equal force. So, if you are giving equal force in 2 directions, there will be no motion. Suddenly, if one of the person from here, he slowly comes here and join this part. Now what happens? The tug will easily move towards this part, isn't it? So, if the force is acting on same direction, they adds up. Same direction adds up. If the force is acting on opposite directions, they get minus. That is, if 2 persons here and 2 persons here, the effective force will be 2 minus 2, that is 0. If they are having equal force only, if 2 persons of 100 kilograms each here and 2 persons of 10 kilograms each here, that is 2 very small kids here standing here, it will not be 0 force. But if the 2 parts are applying same force, they get cancelled each other, that is 2 minus 2, that becomes 0. If they are applying equal force, I am telling this, if they are applying equal force, if 2 persons are staying in either sides, the force there will be 0, that is they get cancelled each other, or the difference of this force will be the resultant force. difference in this force will be the resultant force. And next time what happens, the one standing behind comes to this part. Now here it's 3 here, so they get added up. Here 2 plus 1, they get added up, and only 1 is in minus. That's why here 3 minus 1. What is 3 minus 1? 3 minus 1 is, sorry, 2 plus 1, 3, yes, 3 minus 1, 2, isn't it? So they are leading by 2 force, hence they can win easily. One person's force cancel other person's force, but the 2 others are leading this side, and hence this tug will move easily towards the side. That is the effect of force. So we got the point. If the force is acting on same direction, they get added up. If the force is acting on opposite directions, they get cancelled each other, or the difference of the force will be the effect. So that is the point, exploring forces. And you can see in the page number 130, you can see the here you can see a figure 11.5. The rope may not move if the 2 teams pull at it with equal force. If they are pulling it with equal force, if they are applying equal force in pulling the tug, there will be no motion, and they will get cancelled each other. And you can see a picture of 2 boys moving a box here. At the first time 2 of them are staying aside. At that time the box will move easily. What happens if 2 of them are moving from either opposite sides? Their force get cancelled each other, and there will be no motion for the box, isn't it? So there will be no motion for the box in the second case, and there will be motion for the box easily in the first case. So that is when the force is acting on opposite directions. Here this force is acting in this direction, this force is acting in this direction, they are pulling. So if the force is acting on the opposite directions, the difference, their difference will be the resultant. That is, if equal forces are acting, the difference will be 0. If the forces are acting on the same side, they will add each other. They will add up each other, and it will be their resultant force. See here, this side got 3. They add up each other. So that is about exploring forces. Now to the third point, that is the change of state. We already discussed this thing. So what is the state of an object? An object has 3 states. Either it is in rest, or it is in uniform motion. That means motion. Either it is at rest or in motion. Motion means, it's moving, or it will be at rest. There is a third chance also. When we are discussing about the state of an object, the direction also will be considering. So if a ball is moving in a straight line, it will be going in its straight line itself until someone divert it from the straight line, or some stone is there in order to make a diversion for this straight line, or else the ball will go in the straight line itself. So 3 things that determines the state of an object, that is rest, motion, direction. These are the 3 things. A body is said to be in rest when its speed is 0. Speed is 0. The chalk, when it is moving with 0 speed, that is no motion. 0 speed means no motion. If it is moving, there will be a speed. Even if it is very less speed also, there will be a speed. So if speed is 0, the object is said to be at rest. It is resting. As it gets tired, it is resting. Now, if it got some speed, it is in motion. And if it is going in straight line, we need to give some force in order to make the diversion. So that is state, change in the state. A force can change the state. So we already told what are the states: rest, motion, or in same direction. So how force can change the state? If the chalk is staying here at rest, very calmly it is staying here. Suddenly I came here and take this. So what happens? I am giving a motion, I am giving a force in order to make a motion in this chalk, now to make the position, change in the position of the state. So the state of rest is disturbed by me. That is, A force can change the state of rest. If it is already moving, if it is going to fall down from the table, suddenly I come and catch them and make it rest. So, if the chalk is already moving, I can give a force to stop it. If the ball is moving towards the goalkeeper stops the ball. That is, a moving ball is brought to rest. So, a force can stop a moving body. We already discussed in the first class. So, it can change the state of motion into state of rest. It can change the state of rest into state of motion also. And third one, if a bowler is moving in the same direction, a bowler bowls the ball into the batsman. It's moving in the same direction. Batsman hit in the opposite directions or side directions. I said any of the sides. So he changes the direction by applying a force. So a force can change the direction. That is the state of its direction also it can change. So these three things, either rest or motion. It can change the rest or motion of an object. A force can change the rest or motion of an object. Here you can see in your textbook a small boy. Maybe you have also done this in your childhood, or nowadays also you are doing this using a tire. He's running behind the tire by pushing it with a stick. So he is giving repeatedly, forcing the tire to move with more speed. So he is giving on force to increase the speed of the motion. That is changing in the state of the tire. Tire is already at rest. So he made it into motion. So by applying a force. So a force can make a change in the state of the body. So that's all for today. These three things, forces are due to an interaction only. At least two of the things are needed for a force to act upon. Then exploring forces section we discussed it. When the forces are acting in the same direction, they get added up, and when the forces are acting in the opposite direction, they get difference. The resultant force is the difference between them. If there are two equal forces in two opposite directions, the resultant will be 0. And change the state. A force can change the state of rest or motion into motion or rest. State of rest can be changed into state of motion by a force. State of rest can be changed into state of motion by a force, or state of motion can be changed into state of rest by force. So force can change the state of a body. So that's all for today. Watch the video completely, and if you have any doubt you can ask me. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.